Hello everyone. 54th session of Computer Application in Business of 5th semester BBA affiliated to Bengaluru North University. In this session, we are going to learn about group summary, sales register and purchase register, journal register, statement of accounts and balance sheet. Let us recap the content of the previous session where we understood who is a debtor and a creditor and how to create sundry debtors or creditors. Account should be opened under sundry debtors or sundry creditors with whom company is trading. Sundry debtors are those who buy goods or services for credit, whereas sundry creditors are those who supply goods or services for credit. So we understood to create these accounts, we need to go to the gateway of tally, account information, ledger and create. We understood trial balance. Trial balance is an account of balance of list of all accounts for the company sorted according to groups. So we learned how to view the trial balance by going to the gateway of tally, selecting display menu and trial balance. We also understood the display of accounts, books of accounts and as well as statement. And we understood the display of cash book and bank book. So going to the gateway of tally, selecting the display submenu, selecting the account books and then selection of cash or bank book. The objective of this session is to enable the students to view group summary, sales register, purchase register, journal register, statement of accounts and balance sheet. After the completion of the session, the students will be able to view group summary, sales register, purchase register, journal register, statement of accounts and balance sheet. The content of this session: a group summary, sales register and purchase register, journal register, statement of accounts, balance sheet, and we have certain multiple choice questions to answer. Now let's understand the group summary. Groups are collection of ledgers of the same nature. Account groups are maintained to determine the hierarchy of ledger accounts, which is helpful in determining and presenting meaningful and compliant reports. Tally ERP 9 provides 28 predefined groups. Of this, 15 are primary groups and 13 are subgroups. The group summary statement shows the closing balances of accounts of a selected group for a specified period up to the current date. The default view is that of subgroups within a group. Now let's see how to view the group summary. Going on to the gateway of tally, we need to select display submenu and account books in that group summary, which will help us in viewing the group summary. Now let's move on to the next concept: sales register and purchase register. So sales and purchase registers are meant for revenue accounts and reflected in profit and loss account. In order to view the sales register, we need to go to Gateway of Tally, select Display, that select Account Books and Sales Register. By default, all register display monthly summary with the transaction and the closing balance. Likewise, in order to view purchase register in the gateway of Tally, we have to select the display, select account book, and in that purchase register. Now let's move on to journal register. Journal is also called as journal book or journal ledger. All vouchers other than cash and bank vouchers, purchase voucher, sales voucher, purchasers and sales return vouchers are recorded in the journal register. That is because we have different accounts for the other one. All the adjustment entries, transfer entries, rectification entries, etc. are entered in journal book through journal vouchers. In order to view journal register, we need to select display under gateway of Tally, select submenu of account book and select journal register. Now let's move on to statement of accounts. Statement of accounts are derived from the transaction recorded in the books of accounts. In Tally ERP 9, they are generated for cost centers and outstanding accounts. Now let's understand the concept of balance sheet. Balance sheet is a financial statement that reports a company's financial position. It is not only the financial statement, it is also called as a final statement, which shows company's position in terms of its assets and liabilities. Balance sheet is prepared by taking into consideration the closing balances of the ledger accounts with necessary adjustments. Now, how to view the balance sheet? The balance sheet can be used from display menu in the gateway of Tally and by selecting the balance sheet. Now, it is also possible to configure the balance sheet. By pressing F12, balance sheet can be configured, and after configuration, by pressing Ctrl A to accept. Now when we talk about configuration, there are certain aspects which we need to understand. The configuration can be regarding showing the vertical balance sheet. Now there will be a default option saying no. If at all we want to display balance sheet in a vertical form, we need to change from no to yes. Vertical balance sheet has liabilities and assets, whereas the Indian configuration, it displays sources of funds and application of funds. The other configuration is regarding to profit or loss, both as liability. Again, by default, it will be no. So, set the option to no to move profit and loss account to the asset side of the balance sheet. The configuration is also in terms of showing the percentages. So, by default, it will be no. If at all we want to change, we can change that option. Now, relating to working capital figures, whether to show or display or not, again by default it will be no. We can reset it as S to display current assets and current liabilities as shown method of showing the balance sheets. Liability over assets or assets over liabilities. Whenever we talk about the format of the balance sheet, for horizontal balance sheet, left hand side or right hand side. For vertical balance sheet, top or bottom. Likewise, appearance of the names, by default option is name only. So set the option name only to display the company name in the financial statement. Likewise, scale factor for values. By default option is default to factor value in the financial statement. So once we make necessary configuration to the given balance sheet, by pressing Ctrl A, we can save the changes. Thus, using Tally, we can view the balance sheet which is created out of the ledger account balances. So based on this, let's try to answer the multiple choice questions. Dash or the collection of ledgers of same nature. Question number 1 is account. Question number 2, option number 2 is group. Option number 3 is voucher. And D is balance sheet. So answer is group. So we understood groups are nothing but collection of ledger of the same nature. Now let's move on to the next question. Next question is Tally ERP9 provides dash predefined groups. Let's see the options. 28, 18, 15 and none of the above. Yes, the answer is 28. We understood Tally ERP9 provides 28 predefined groups, in that 15 are primary groups and 13 are subgroups. Now let's move on to the next question, that is pathway to view journal register. So let's see the option. The options are gateway of Tally, accounts books, display and journal ledger. Option B, gateway of Tally, display, journal register. Gateway of Tally, display, account books, journal register. None of the above. Yeah, answer is C. Under gateway of Tally, select display, select account book and select journal register to view the journal register. Journal register is also known as journal book, and you should know it contains all adjustment entries, transfer entries, rectification entries, etc. Let's move on to the next question. By default, all register display dash summary with transactions and closing balance. Options are monthly transaction, monthly summary, quarterly summary, half yearly summary and yearly summary. Now answer is yes. A. We know that by default all register display monthly summary with transactions and closing balance. Now let's move on to the next question. To configure balance sheet. Options are Alt 12, Control plus 12, press F12 and none of the above. Answer is yes. By pressing F12, we can configure the balance sheet in terms of whether it is vertical balance sheet, whether regarding to percentages or method of showing balance sheet or appearance of name or scale factor for values. So answer to this question is C, that is press F12 to configure the balance sheet. These are some of the books referred in making the presentation and this session. Thank you.